A world of metal and malice, strife and corruption, a taint that once threatened the multiverse, reborn anew. The plane of Phyrexia has played host to Magic the Gathering's longest and arguably greatest antagonists in the story, but its history has always been a great mystery. Will the origins of Phyrexia finally be revealed in the upcoming set, focusing on the events of the Brothers' War? Hey everyone, I'm Simon here for the Aether Hub, bringing you more Magic the Gathering lore. Today I want to delve into some speculation on what I think could be included in Magic's latest set, Brothers' War. The Brothers' War was a massive world-changing event in Dominaria and MTG's history, and now we look to travel to that time via Teferi's magic and witness the events with our own eyes. With this hands-on history lesson, we may get formerly unknown knowledge of the Phyrexians' origins, starting with their birth plane of Phyrexia. In this video, I want to cover what we know about the origins of Phyrexia and what we could possibly learn in the Brothers' War. Remember, if you're enjoying our content, consider showing your support by leaving this video a like, becoming a subscriber, or by becoming a member of the channel, just like these great Vorthoses here. Thank you all so much for your continued support, it really means a lot. And now, let's get back to the lore. Much of Phyrexia's origins remain unknown, but we do know that it was created sometime in the multiverse's history before the mending and the corruption of Yawgmoth. For this world was not a natural plane, but one created by the machinations of a powerful pre-mending Planeswalker. Prior to the mending, Planeswalkers were essentially gods, able to tap into the limitless mana provided by the Blind Eternities, and with it, able to cast spells of unimaginable potential. Creating worlds, realities, or even life was well within the capabilities of a pre-mending Planeswalker. Just as Karn created his world of Argentum, and the Planeswalker Sarah created her own personal realm, so too did an unnamed Planeswalker come to create the plane that would later be known as Phyrexia. It is unknown why this Planeswalker created a plane, and we don't know its purpose, if it had one at all. But we do learn in the novel The Thran that its original creator did not abandon their plane, rather dying under mysterious circumstances only a month before the appearance of Yawgmoth, who formally took control and renamed the world Phyrexia. What Yawgmoth found when first stepping through the portal to this plane was a world designed with a unique fusion of artifice and mechanical life. It was a dark, festering plane where artificial creatures roamed, and domains or spheres already existed, separating levels into distinct categories as one traveled through to the center. It was said that the 9 spheres that we know existed on Phyrexia during the reign of Yawgmoth, at least most, if not all, were present before his arrival, meaning they were designed by this original Planeswalker. The first sphere appeared as a paradise, one in mockery of natural life, a parody that did its best to artificially recreate an idyllic world. Mechanical serpents and, quote, strange birds could be seen traveling through metallic trees, which together built great steel forests. Rivers of oil babbled through the landscape as the sun cut through red clouds of rust. The greatest creatures here were the dragon engines, seamless constructs that moved and behaved just like any natural beast would. The next sphere was much more crude, acting more as a dumping ground for the waste and debris of the first sphere. The light filtering down had a metallic sheen to it, casting a dark shadow upon the more rudimentary mechanical lifeforms that called this sphere their home. It's clear that the second sphere was merely a place to sustain the perfection of the sphere above it, with the artificial life here being original prototypes, those that could quickly evolve. These are the only 2 spheres we read about prior to the founding of Phyrexia, but it gives us a glimpse into the original design of this plane. In that, this world was much like the plane of Argentum to Karn. Karn created Argentum to be a plane of perfection. Perfection in his eyes meant mathematical precision, so his artificial world appeared as sleek, metallic, and more futuristic, with not even artificial life obscuring its surface. Argentum would come to more closely resemble Phyrexia when it's transformed into Mirrodin. That is when biological life was first introduced to the plane, and over centuries, that life started to incorporate the mechanical components of the plane into its evolution. What Yawgmoth finds on this world pushes him to found his ideal world, dubbing it Phyrexia, naming it after a healing process that he pioneered called Phyrexias, which required replacing the weak aspects of mortality with that of perfectly engineered artifice. In his journey to perfect his people by removing those same weak aspects, the technology offered to him by this new plane would become crucial. The constantly evolving artificial life allowed Yawgmoth to experiment with new alloys, as well as designs to better create the ultimate life forms free of disease or weakness. These experiments would give birth to the first true Phyrexians seen in the multiverse. Yawgmoth didn't stop with simply creating perfect life, he continued to champion for its growth through weeding out those considered weak. He indoctrinated all of his creatures with the ideal to pursue perfection at any cost, and to spread that fervor to all corners of the world and beyond, even throughout the entire multiverse. This drive to spread the will of Yawgmoth still exists today with the rise of new Phyrexia, but back during its origins, this meant simply surviving the horrific conditions Yawgmoth had settled on a young Phyrexia. This was the origins of Phyrexia, a world built by an unknown power with an unknown purpose, conscripted by a maddened physician who used it as a petri dish to create the greatest enemy in the Magic the Gathering story. Though we don't know much about the original plane's creator, we do get some fragments of lore from the Thran novel that could possibly be used if we learn more about them in Brothers' War. The Planeswalker who originally took Yawgmoth to this plane and opened a gateway between it and Dominaria, Defed, offered us a small look into who its original creator was. In examining the artificial life of this world, you would find serpents interlaced throughout most of the constructs, even making up the trunks of the artificial trees here. Dragon engines walked through the metal forests, and their bodies were so remarkably lifelike that Defed even mentions that their flesh is technically edible, though in truth they still were merely artificial in nature. Dragons were so important to this original creator because it was their favorite form to take. Unlike other dragon planeswalkers like Nicol Bolas, this was merely a human who took the form of a dragon. Like other pre-mending planeswalkers, including other elder dragons in Magic the Gathering lore, many of them took on a human form when traveling or talking with mortals. In this case, it seems that this pre-mending planeswalker was in fact a human who enjoyed taking the form of a dragon. A dragon? Rebek gasped. She stood on the creature's decaying hip, desiccated scales curled like autumn leaves around her feet. Beneath it, putrid meat clung to slumped bones. She looked for clear ground on which to stand, but the dead dragon took up the whole sphere. A dragon made all this? She asked. They enjoyed this form so much that they incorporated it throughout their world as much as they could. Again from the Thran novel, where she stood atop the leathery wreck of one wing, Defed said yes, a dragon was his favorite form. It was why the first sphere is filled with serpents, made in his own image. But in truth, his original form was human. So from this, we can confirm that the creator of this plane is indeed dead, was a pre-mending planeswalker, and was obsessed with artifice, or at least in creating artificial life. Obviously, the Brothers' War set could expand on this, and we may finally learn the identity of the planeswalker who created Yawgmoth's perfect world of Phyrexia. But that's not the only mystery this set could solve. The death of this planeswalker has always been one of Magic's greatest unsolved riddles. This great, massive human turned into a dragon was just found dead on his own artificial plane. Pre-mending planeswalkers, especially those that can shapeshift into a dragon, essentially are immortal. They can't be killed by old age or disease. Not only that, with the powers of a pre-mending planeswalker being that of a god, it would have made him essentially invulnerable to any would-be attackers. The only thing that could have killed the world's creator would most likely have to be another, even more powerful pre-mending planeswalker. Just a shot in the dark, but maybe this was an epic pre-mending duel between Nicol Bolas and this unnamed shape-shifting planeswalker. Or perhaps a multiversal conqueror like Ob Nixilis found his way to pre-Phyrexia and took it over by killing its creator, conquering it simply because there was no other true populace to rule. Just some fun theories, but still, something I hope we can learn more about in the Brothers' War. As the Brothers' War set will be delving deeper into Phyrexian history, there's one major plot point I'd love to see expanded on. and it has to do with the original nature of the Phyrexian home plane, and how its design turned Yawgmoth from a mortal scientist into a giant meat god. When first designed, the creator built out the 9 spheres of the plane, each with a purpose, the center of the plane being the central control mechanism for all other 8 spheres. It was said that Yawgmoth journeyed to this sphere and became a god by merging himself with Phyrexia, the details of which are a bit on the fuzzy side. Was this simply Yawgmoth merging his consciousness with the plane? We don't really know, but learning more about the plane's origins could help answer this burning Vorthos question. Anyway guys, that's what we know about the origins of Phyrexia, before it was Phyrexia, and the one who created this world that would go on to torment Dominaria and spread its corruption throughout the multiverse. There's still plenty of questions we seek answers in regarding its origins, questions hopefully answered in our upcoming conflict with New Phyrexia, as well as traveling back in time to encounter the original antagonists of MTG. If you have any thoughts or theories or questions about the Phyrexian origins, let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to support our content, consider leaving this video a like, becoming a subscriber, or by becoming a member of the channel. Much like these fine folks here, you'll be one of the greatest supporters of our content, and it really goes a long way in helping us grow. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya!